If you like our content about training, then you'll love our programming too. Head to the notes below to grab a free week of general physical preparation. You get unlimited access to me and fresh programming every single week for less than $1 a day.
All right, everyone. We have an emergency broadcast. There's a big UFC card on the weekend, so me, Harvey, and Jacob tried to get together just to record a bit of a preview for the weekend's fight card. Obviously, headlines by Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic. Obviously, there's been so much frustration about Jon Jones supposedly ducking Tom Aspinall. And I'm definitely from that camp, but I got to say, in the last fortnight, there's been a huge shift in my attitude towards the fight. I'm actually G'd up to see it. Like, it's not the fight that it is the fight that we deserve. It's not the fight that we want, but as the MMA degenerate community, this is the fight we got. It's been an absolute treat lately, the UFC. So, and this is far from a palate cleanser. Like I said, this is still a pretty legendary fight. We were hoping Jacob would be able to join us, and he was rushing back from work, and he got his laptop stolen while he was filling his car up with gas. So shout out to Jacob. He does not receive any money from the ebook sales. Obviously, if you want to buy me, I'd like to try to help Jacob out with his work laptop. But if you want to fund Jacob's laptop directly, sign up for a free trial of general physical preparation. What the fuck you got some house renovations going on, Harvey?
Yeah, kind of. Hang on. This is unexpected to me as well.
The classic attack of the vacuum cleaner. But yeah, so shout out to Jacob. I mean, me and Harvey were just sort of talking about it. We're both a little bit older than him and at slightly different places in our lives. But just remembering back in the day, it's just like you're always in a rush somewhere. Something fucked happens to a valuable piece of equipment and you're like, what the fuck? I mean, Jacob's got some coin, but whereas nowadays it's like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to get my laptop stolen, but I would just march straight to the Apple store and get another one and just write it off on work. So
it's funny as well because like
shout out to having a job. Well, Jacob has two jobs.
I almost feel like there was a while there, and it's probably still to a similar extent, but there was a while there where I felt like my laptop held the same like significance as my car did, in that like I was like, it was less about scared of getting it stolen and more about like when you knew your laptop was like coming to the end, you were like, come on, I really don't want you to fucking go down on me now. And I remember like being in a uni lecture and taking my laptop out and opening it and like just the sound of my laptop, like the fans going and shit to try and make it work was so loud that I was like, I actually can't have this out in here, and just like put it away. It was like, we'll live to fight another day. But like that is the level of like same deal. You'd be driving your car and you'd be like, oh, I really don't want to have to buy a new car right now. Like, just please get me to where I'm going.
I drove a car shout out to Toyota Camrys, like, because I just didn't have the money to service it or fix it. It's definitely driving it illegally, but like I just needed a car to get me to work. Just like, but yeah, having blue tack over the radiator and just like having to constantly fill it up with water like every single time. Like if I was driving more than 10 minutes, I'd have to pull over and fill it up. But even just getting to the point where like the brakes just got so fucked on the car that I was just like, okay, this is like a danger to more than just myself now. But just not having any other option. God, yeah, man. It's not being that part of my life anymore.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. I just wanted to take a second to let you know that Angus has poured all of his knowledge on e-commerce and organic content into an ebook, which is now available. If you want to check it out, head to the show notes or the link in Angus's bio. Thanks.
Let me do one update. So I got a funny story attached to it. It was my dad's 71st birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is, I fully feel I'm such a shit son. I was at breakfast. Mum and Dad just pulled on like, let's go for breakfast on Monday. It'd be good to see ya. And we get there. Mum's like, do you know what day it is? I'm just running the numbers in my head. I'm like, November 11th, Remembrance Day. It's definitely my dad's birthday. Shout out to the troops. Shout out to my dad. Anyway, like we took a nice family photo. It was a really nice catch up. Obviously, I've sort of been pretty public about my challenging relationship with my parents, mostly because of me and my own head noise and stuff like that. Like I had amazing parents. But just me fucking just getting over all just like the little things that fucked me up that are obviously like heaps of reasonable sort of things. I just fucking have forgiveness issues and stuff like that. But that was a really nice hangout. And then my post last night, I was sort of using it. I was like, fuck, my parents, like, they both look amazing for their age. I've always thought I had pretty shit sporting genetics because I've never been a good athlete. But I was like, fuck, my brother's a national level athlete. Both my parents are in amazing shape. And just sort of thinking about this idea that people who talk shit about their genetics, talking shit about your entire family, it led me to scrolling back through my brother's IG account because I was looking for a photo of him on the podium from back in his sporting days. But what I found, I got all the way back to 2015. I just saw this photo of, he uploaded this photo of Dad at his, like some Christmas work party or like the after party where they were out at the club. It was just a photo of him with 3 girls. Actually, can you pull it up on the screen? Because it's a legendary. It's just a nice point of reference. Yeah, so the post is from the 23rd of December 2015. So this is actually the year I became a personal trainer. It was when I started out in Wollongong, so I was in an interesting place in my life. But Dad was at his head office Christmas function for work, and they all went out to the club after. All the young guys from work always love my dad. They're like, yeah, let's get him out to the club. Dad's out at the club, probably at like Revolver in Melbourne or something like that, like fucking, well past midnight. He's like, let's fucking go with these young guys, like in this generation. Like none of them can approach a girl. Like none of them have the balls to just go up to a woman and like, have a fucking crack. So Dad's out there trying to show him how to talk to women. And he approaches these 3 girls. They fucking love chatting to him. He's just like, oh, fuck, I'm here with a bunch of my work friends. Like, are you interested in any of them? And they were just like, nah, fuck those losers. He's like, well, I've got sons. Like, are you interested in them? Because there were just these 3 American girls on a holiday around Australia. So we get a text message the next day in the family group chat, this pic that hopefully Harvey's bringing up now. He can just edit it into the YouTube clip. And Dad's like, we need 3 extra seats at the table for Christmas lunch. I'm bringing some girls around for the boys.
Fucking hell.
And they showed up. It's fucking insane.
Wait, what?
I was in a major depressive episode, so I actually still fumbled the bag. So it was fun. It was a weird. I can't believe I've never told. I don't think I have told this story. It goes to show you the place I was in. I think I've told this story to many of my mates. So fucking funny. But yeah, Oscar went out with one of them. Yeah, fucking insane. My dad pulled 3 birds and brought them over for Christmas lunch.
That is the most rogue fucking story I've
And
ever
this
heard
was so 2015. Dad would have been like 63. Like, insane. Insane.
But it's just that whole thing, though, isn't it? Like, your dad's a salesman, right? Like, by trade.
It's just shit like that when I reflect on that. And like I've told, even on the podcast, like I've shared so many stories about my parents just being amazing. But even just when I reflect on that shit, I'm just like, fucking hell. Like obviously respecting my need to go to therapy and deal with all that shit, but also just like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Obviously, you're not meant to judge yourself and stuff, but like, fuck, I could hold a grudge.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's rip into this big segue. UFC 309 preview. Oh, the UFC, there's been a couple of interesting cards lately. What was the co-main on the Holloway Ilya Topuria card? Sort of got my wires crossed.
It was Chimaev and Whitaker.
Oh, yeah. Again, I know exactly why my brain suppressed that. Okay, thank you. I'm actually glad that you brought that up because it reminded me of just like some manifestations that I've been feeling. Because I think we all know that you can't really use logic when it comes to predicting the outcome of MMA bouts a lot of the time. It's because it's just like, I don't know, MMA is MMA. It is what it fucking is. And I feel like there's so much like woo-woo out in the ether. And I feel like Robert Whitaker and Max Holloway were the sacrifices to the MMA gods that we needed for Stipe Miocic to knock out Jon Jones.
That's a really interesting thing.
And this is sort of, maybe this is what's just getting me excited about it, but I'll say that it's not because it still has potential, I would say. Of course it has potential. I think there's a strong chance that it's a highly entertaining matchup. Oh, no, I just had another feeling in my tummy that Jon Jones might walk through and fuck, hold on. Let my tummy settle. Fuck, am I just on hopium here?
I think I listened to everyone too much approaching the Holloway fight. I just had this feeling where I was like, I actually think Topuria's it. Like, I know it's super early days, but I think he's actually like kind of the GOAT. Like, not yet, but will be. At least of the division.
It still hurts me to say it, but I agree. He's just phenomenally talented. I just didn't want to admit it after he did Volkanovski, but like deep down, I remember when he beat, who's the grappler? When he beat Ryan Hall, even though like that was the first hint, I was like, and I was just like, I was like, am I looking at the guy who's going to come through and dethrone Volkanovski? Because when Ilya Topuria beat Ryan Hall, it was a couple of years ago, but it was just getting to the point where people were like, oh, it is Holloway and Volk, and there is no one else relevant in the title picture at the featherweight division.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and like he's just at every challenge, he is. I would say his biggest underperformance, it'd be, I mean, he finished Bryce Mitchell, so you can't call that, and he submitted him, so that's fucking crazy. It's the who's the orc looking guy? It was the Josh Emmett decision. Even though like that fight, it's still a great performance. It was a really dominant performance, but like that's his worst performance, a 5-round domination of Josh Emmett. And I think that also shows you like the only thing, obviously any style on any night, someone can get the job against Topuria, but it's you a gun, and what will help a lot, you need respectable power. Because Josh Emmett isn't nearly as technical as Holloway or Volk, but he has that fuck you power, and it just made Ilya mind his manners. Even when Ilya had Josh Emmett completely on the ropes, there was still this like, even one shot from this guy could absolutely put me out. Whereas as legendary as Volk is, as legendary as Holloway is, none of them have that power. Hard power, you could put guys out. If Holloway swings an absolute haymaker, I'm sure if Volk swung that same haymaker against Gaethje, like any goon can throw a haymaker. But as far as like being technical with fuck you power, and it won't be Emmett, because Emmett's at a certain stage of his career, things aren't going his way, where I think he could be a couple of fights away from retirement. But yeah, I agree with that assessment. Ilya Topuria, it's definitely him.
Yeah. And it's a weird one, man, because Chimaev is almost a similar thing. Like, I really didn't want to believe that Chimaev.
This I'm less certain of.
Yeah,
and
I'm
it's not Chimaev's fault.
No, it's not Chimaev's fault, and I think a lot of it comes from the fact that he's not been inconsistent, but he hasn't been able to fight as much. And I think actually, what else it is, like, this is probably because I wasn't really around for Whittaker's heyday, so you could call it. But
it was good.
I'm sure it was. I just think I don't hold Whittaker in the same kind of like elite regard as a lot of other people do. I don't even know if that's fair. I just looked at it and I was like,
because in hindsight, and I'm completely sympathetic to how you feel about it, because I'd feel the same if I was seeing the clips, because the Whittaker run, the clips of it don't look dominant, and it wasn't dominant. It was the most competitive era of the middleweight division in the last fucking 5 to 10 years. And he ran the fucking gauntlet, and he was the underdog at every stage of his championship run, and just fighting monster after monster. The finish against Brunson, Jacare Souza was the boogeyman of that division. He was knocking dudes out. He was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fucking legend. Whittaker just knocked him the fuck out. It was just and then the back-to-back fights against Yoel Romero. Again, everyone, including the champions of that division, were doing everything that they can to not fight that guy. Like, Yoel Romero was the scariest man in the UFC at that point. And Whittaker did 10 rounds with the guy. And the second fight the first fight's crazy, beat him with a blown out knee and I think a broken foot. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, it was so hectic. It was such a battler. He personified the Anzac spirit. I feel like, sorry, that might be overdoing it there, but
yeah. And that's the whole thing. And like, I get with the Chimaev thing, there was kind of the teeth injury and all the rest of it. And like, I don't want to be one of these people. He almost
had a Holloway-esque back end to his career. He just didn't quite get over that. Well, sorry, neither did Holloway. Yeah, Robert Whittaker and Holloway have had very similar sort of post-championship arcs, which has been very inspirational.
I feel like Holloway's a little bit more box office than Whittaker is. Like, it feels like regardless of what Holloway does, he manages to kind of steal the headlines a bit. Whereas Whittaker, I think, is like just a bit more kind of like rough and rugged, get in there and do the thing, don't really worry about putting a show on, you know?
I should say Holloway's definitely had more style points. The performance against Kadar, the knockout of Gaethje and stuff like that.
Exactly. And even when he was, I can't remember who it was. Was it Yair Rodriguez when he fought him on like Fight Island and, was like, was he not like yelling like I'm the best boxer in the UFC? While
that was the Emmett fight. The fight against Yair was a fucking war. I mean, he had some shots in the Kadar fight as well. But back to the Whittaker versus Chimaev rematch. So obviously, it's crazy seeing someone run through Whittaker like that. I don't want to deny that it takes a certain amount of physicality and skill to do what he did in the time frame and who he did it to. Having said that, there's the vulnerability to the jaw. It's just like I said, it's nothing. Chimaev did as best as he could have with the circumstances he was presented with. It just would be so good to just see him in the third round against an actual middleweight. Again, we've seen it against Gilbert Burns. We've seen it against Kamaru Usman. One was at welterweight. One was against a welterweight at short notice at middleweight. But then again, from what we've seen, you would have to bet on... No, so this is the thing as well, but what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Because DDP is the same, man. I mean, that's the next fight. And I'm kind of sick of doubting DDP. I can't doubt DDP going into another matchup. I've doubted him at every fucking matchup, and he's just fucking... he gets the job. It's crazy, man. Like, some of the replays from that fight against Adesanya, thinking back to the war he had with Darren Till. Go watch Darren Till piece up DDP for an entire round 2 of their fight. Like, go watch that. Like, and like whatever, he just gets the fucking job done. DDP is a winner. They're both winners. Yeah. I think DDP might be the guy to do him. And like I said, it's nothing from me seeing this matchup comes out against Whittaker and being like, oh, I see holes that DDP can expose. I can't see the holes, but I know that DDP can.
Yeah. There's that. And I think there's also like, I'm kind of saying this, thinking about this as I'm saying it, so it's maybe full of shit. But I feel like when I look at everyone Khamzat's come up against, DDP is kind of the biggest wild card in that I don't think anyone really understands how DDP does what he does. He just kind of looks mad fucking like a clumsy brawler, but like...
Imagine Gilbert Burns with 20% more chat. Like, you know what I mean? Take yourself back to round 2 and 3, even parts of round 1, Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat, which was an insane fight. That was like almost as good as that was a better fight than Romero versus Costa. We should replace that with that one. But imagine Gilbert Burns with just a bit more juice. You know what I mean? Like, I think that finishes Khamzat. And as far as like the level of round 1 is the word I can't use. Tiger Woods got punished for saying it. And it's a shame you can't use the word because it sums up DDP's style in there so perfectly. It's also been good sort of seeing the DDP camp openly discuss this and DDP's coach being like, no, like he's an absolute technician in the gym. Obviously, look, we're not seeing this shit in the gym. I'm just sort of taking his word for it. But I believe him because I think it takes so long to learn how to fight in a very sporting sense. And I think DDP is just a phenomenal athlete. And he's obviously technical compared to like the average Joe even. And even a lot of... Actually, I don't even know if I can say he's like looks technical to me in his performances compared to a lot of pros because... Or is it a symptom of this? Is it just weaponized cardio for a man who's willing to push himself to the point of gassing every time, but just willing to bet that he's more of a dog? And that's what makes his technique look sloppy. But I feel like it looks sloppy even when he's not gassed.
I don't know, but I tell you what, if anyone's going to gas you out, it's probably Chimaev.
I think you'd be surprised.
I'm not saying that he will gas him out, but I'm saying if anyone is going to, I think it's Chimaev. Didn't get gassed by Strickland's like constant pace, but like Chimaev just doesn't let you go. You know, like that's a different kind of...
But you know what I think? And you know what I think gives DDP the advantage? He's not trying to not gas. He's like, let's gas and see what happens. He's like, people have seen what I do when I'm gassed. I win fights.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And that's
Khamzat doesn't get finishes when they're gassed. This is the thing. As soon as Khamzat's gassed, he's lost his finishing ability. He's a DDP, he's a gassy finisher. He can be absolutely fucked and just choke a dude out.
Yeah.
Like, that's when he's just like, I've got an opening. When he, and Israel Adesanya, he said it in the fight as well. He's like, we're in the deep waters, and you know, when it's just sort of alternating between someone gets a second wind, then the other person sort of gets a second wind. And he was just like, every time I thought I was getting my wind and I knew he was just absolutely gassed, like he'd just sort of thrown a big shot or something like that, he would just throw anything back. Just to stop the moment. Like and again, it's just that maybe not so much an awareness of the certain technical aspects of the fight, but an awareness of where the race is at all times. And like that's the quality I think that's hard as fuck. I'm really getting horny over this, aren't I?
Well, that's the thing.
as a technical wizard.
I think that's the summary of the whole thing, is that for me anyway, I have no idea how that fight goes. Like, absolutely.
You know why I like DDP? I think he has
Shit.
general physical qualities.
Hell yeah. I feel you.
He's just got the stat bars up. No, you're right. Let's just do the podium of the main card. We've got a 6-0 Bo Nickal up against Paul Craig. I love this matchup. I fucking love this matchup.
Am I wrong for thinking Nickal dusts him?
Yes, but and look, or whatever. Like the least exciting thing that probably happens is Bo Nickal knocks him out, because Bo Nickal does have hands. Paul Craig has horrible defense and offense standing, where anyone at that weight can do some damage throwing it. But yeah, it's just, he'll be wanting it to get it to the ground. What I'm hoping is that Bo Nickal's ego gets the better of him and he enters the guard of Paul Craig. Look, this is the thing. If it happens when Paul Craig's rocked to shit, he'll probably just finish him with ground and pound. But and honestly, even if he rocks him just a bit and he ground and pounds him out, that's a really good sign from Bo Nickal, because Paul Craig's guard has made a fool of many middleweights. Shout out to Uncle Liev. Oh, sorry, that's right. Sorry, more so light heavyweights, because I forgot Paul Craig's down at middleweight. But yeah. I don't want to promote gambling, so I'm not going to talk about the crazy bet you could put on. So moving on.
Wait, who you picking?
Bo Nickal's got that. Bo Nickal all day.
Yeah, I'm taking Nickal as well. Okay, Oliveira versus Chandler. Now, just for a reminder, Oliveira submitted him last time, right? Or did he knock him out?
Yes.
He knocked him out. Yeah, he knocked him out.
Yeah, so didn't Chandler drop him and take his back for majority of the first round? And then I think it was like a left hook. So it was like a shovelly sort of left from Oliveira that dropped him and then, choked him out.
Wait, I thought he knocked him out. I thought Oliveira knocked him out last time.
Pretty sure he submitted him.
Either way, how do you see it going?
Have you been enjoying the Chad McRizza meme? Just Conor McGregor just with the Chad filter on, just cracking beers and stuff like that. Obviously just wasting 2 years of Michael Chandler's life. Michael Chandler just training intensely the whole time. Oh, it's fucking brutal. Anyway, Michael Chandler.
No, he knocked him out. It was KO, round 2.
Oh, so that shot led to ground and pound out. Damn. Okay. How old's Charles Oliveira?
Good question. He is 35.
Michael Chandler's 37. I mean, I think there's almost like we're getting a little bit too obsessed with the age stats with these sub 170 divisions.
Yeah, I think, because you know what? I don't think it really comes into Chandler's 38. I don't think it really comes into
Charles Oliveira's coming off a loss against Arman Sayukin, right?
It was close though, wasn't it?
Charles should do him, but it's going to be an entertaining fight. I wonder how the 2 years off has been for Chandler. Actually, there's no way he's going to age poorly. I think it'll be a really entertaining fight, and I'm picking Charles Oliveira. I have no idea what way it's going to go, because Michael Chandler refuses to not fight in a maximally entertaining way. So there's going to be some sort of crazy engagement in the first 90 seconds. Someone will get dropped. It could be either of them, but I would still back Charles Oliveira, even if he gets dropped, to be able to put away Chandler. He's just got more finishing abilities. and he's got the win before. And I also think if anyone's going to come in with a game plan out of the two of them, it's definitely going to be Oliveira, not Chandler.
Hell yeah. Jacob has entered the fold. What up?
We'll get to the end of the card breakdown and then we'll find out about the laptop situation.
Yeah, for the record, I'm picking Oliveira as well for no real huge reason. Then I honestly think I kind of think we're waiting for the wheels to fall off a bit with one of these two. And I don't know who it's going to be first, but I just think Oliveira has shown more ability to be calculated in the past. And I think Chandler might actually have upped his game a bit in that front in the whole like training for McGregor thing. But I just think Oliveira gets it done. I don't think I've seen enough from Chandler to suggest that he's now, you know, like a championship level fighter, and Oliveira was not that long ago, you know. But yeah, Jacob,
Chandler's striking is a bit overrated.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think Chandler's almost got the surprise factor. Like, I think he's unpredictable.
If you want access to a community of like-minded coaches, head to the notes below and join our free school community. I'm in there every week doing Q&As, and there's plenty of educational content on the way as well.
It's a little meatball.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like, I think Oliveira strikes me as a very calculated guy, and even though he gets hit, I think he's quite calculated in what he does, whereas I don't think Chandler is all that calculated in what he does. Unless it's to Tony Ferguson's jaw, in which case he's quite calculated.
A greased up Michael Chandler might be the most unstoppable guy in the lightweight division, just purely based on matchups. Imagine a greased up Michael Chandler. I reckon he'd beat Islam Makhachev. I don't know why that popped into my head. I'm sorry, I was just sort of, because I was like, if Chandler could grease for this fight, I'd back him in this as well.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Okay, let's move up. Main event: Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Gus, you were saying you think Miocic might do it?
Yeah, because purely based on no logic, but just woo-woo. We've made sacrifices to the MMA gods. Robert Whittaker, Holloway. I don't think the sacrifice of Volkanovski can be considered in this time frame. And because we've had some really crazy, entertaining fights since then. And I think there's something in the air. But my biggest fear with it, and what the biggest disappointment will be, if Stipe has just aged like shit, if Jon Jones just kicks the crap out of his legs, eye pokes him 2 or 3 times, and then sort of like decisions him from there. But I back it to be an entertaining fight. I have a feeling in my tummy about the upset, but then I have this other horrible feeling, because you know what would be the most UFC thing about this? If Stipe wins, there's no way they don't do the rematch, and then Aspinall's out for 3 years sitting on an interim belt.
In which
case, and I don't think that this will happen, but the only way to restore order would be to do a 4-way tourney then between Stipe and Jon Jones. And then you match up Aspinall and Pereira, and then you can do a final out of the lot of them. But even anyway, regardless, if what I feel like could happen, will happen, Stipe is going to knock out Jon Jones. Got to make the call. And he's why is Stipe? You know what I hate about this? Jon Jones has a fucking chin. I reckon Jon Jones can eat a massive shot from Stipe and still be all right. Fuck, he's so good. And that's why he's going to lose, because MMA.
Yeah. Sport. I think this one's really hard to pick, I think, for many reasons. But I just think in terms of the politics of the whole thing, I think the fight that the UFC wants to make the most is Pereira versus Jones, because it's kind of the two biggest stars, active stars in the thing, going for it. And I just don't know when the next time you get a fight of that kind of magnitude. You've got the Pereira going for triple champ thing. I just don't know when that happens again. I also don't know how much longer Jones is going to kick about. I don't know how much longer Pereira is going to kick about either. It just seems like the longer you sit on that fight without making it happen, the more of a dice roll it is on whether it happens at all. So I think I honestly, this is such a 50-50 for me. I don't see this going the distance. I think Jones does Miocic. I think he submits him. And I think it happens in the second round.
I think there's some good logic behind that. And this is the thing, because people say we've only seen fucking 90 seconds of Jon Jones in the last 4 years. But I was at the UFC PI a month before his fight against Cyril Gahn. And I was talking to one of the guys there. I was like, how's Jon Jones after all this time off? And he was like, the fucking wrestling through the roof. He's just grappling has just never been better. He's had another year or so. He's just been in camp with Gordon Ryan and then lately Gable Stevenson, Tokyo 2020 heavyweight champion of the freestyle wrestling, just absolute freak of nature. And Gordon Ryan, and because this is the thing, people stereotype the technical aspect of jiu-jitsu being the guard and stuff like that. It's Gordon Ryan has the best top game. It's pretty funny, actually. I just the logical part of me is just we might just see fucking one of the best grappling performances of all time on Stipe here by Jon Jones.
No, we absolutely might. We absolutely might. And I think that's what's interesting here. It's does Stipe come in and try and like that? I don't know. It's does Stipe come in and do his own thing? Or does he come in and try and just dodge Jones's thing? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just funny because also everyone can be like, well, we saw Jones fight Gahn, blah, blah, blah. But this is real talk. This is the first heavyweight we've seen Jones fight. And we just don't know what he's going to look like. He's been out of the cage for 4 years or something. The last time he was in the cage, he got absolutely fucking smoked by Ngannou. He's old. He's, it could be ring rust. It could be really good for him because maybe he's taking time off and maybe he's healed a bit. There's just so many wild card factors.
You know the biggest one of them all is as well? How can you measure Stipe's...
We value your input here at the High Performance Podcast. Head to the SpeakPipe link in the notes below and you can leave us a voicemail where you can ask us a question or leave us a topic for us to explore on the show. We hope to hear from you soon.
He's got a shift booked in at the fire department for 2 weeks after this fight. He's just straight back into it. And I think we might just see a workman-like performance. Stipe has been fucking useless in every single interview. I've seen so many big MMA channels on YouTube. They typically will get a fighter on fight week or leading up to a fight, do a 30-minute to fucking maybe 60 minutes, sometimes even longer interview with them. All these ones with Stipe, some of them have gone for under 10 minutes because they're just what's going on? He's training for a while, haven't fought in a while. And then they're you gonna win? He's I'm gonna win. They're you gonna retire after? He's I don't know. Going back to my job. It's just... all right, see you the next
Yeah,
fight.
no, 100%.
I just think you might just see that fucking just punching the clock, just doing the job.
Oh, no doubt. And I think that's it's hard to put into words, but Miocic is just obviously not the person the UFC want. Do you know what I mean? He's not good on the mic. He's not a personality. He's not. You look at Jones, you look at Pereira might not be a fucking demon on the mic, but he fights every 10 minutes. People love him. I just... Yeah, I would actually love it if Miocic did this. If Miocic came out and just smoked Jones in a round, I would fucking love it.
The difference between Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones isolated as a variable, I reckon it's under 200,000 pay-per-views. I don't think I'm wrong on that. Jon Jones is a 700,000 pay-per-view guy. He's doing 700,000 pay-per-views in good matchups. I wonder how many pay-per-views he did. Let me just check pay-per-views against Jon Jones versus Anthony Smith. This combined with, I know Dana seems like he's glazing Jones now, but that's just because he's glazing him because he wants him to keep fighting. I don't think his star power does. Like I said, I think a lot of it is just people being tactical, trying to create negotiation sort of settings for future matchups that might come off the back of this. I don't think the UFC is just banking on it. I think it's sort of useful now. And again, it does allow him to squeeze the last bit out of Miocic as well. And then, like I said, if he does win, I think he gets enough of a rub from that legendary performance to be as valuable as Jon Jones almost.
Oh man, like
Maybe.
there's no bad turn for the UFC here because if Miocic wins, there's no way Jones is letting that go unsettled. Like if Miocic wins, they're getting at least another fight out of Jones. And I also just don't know how long Ngannou stays out of the UFC, but either way,
I
you've
don't
got
think
Pereira
that's
wanting to come
happening
up.
again. I think that partnership is over. I would be surprised if Ngannou fought in the UFC again. Very.
Yeah, I think depending on how results go, I could kind of say. But anyway, I always keep forgetting about Aspinall. But anyway, yeah, I don't think there's a bad way this plays out. Because say Miocic does Jones, Pereira fights Aspinall, whoever gets the interim, and then fucking is next type thing. Like I don't think it plays out badly.
Who the fuck is Vivian Araujo and Karina Silva? What the fuck is going on with the bottom of this main card?
Man, I could not tell you. Who are you taking? Jones or Stipe?
Stipe.
I'd love that.
And like even logically spelling out the Jon Jones victory, if I was putting money on it, my money would be going on Stipe.
Hectic. That's the most positive thing I've heard anyone else say about it.
It's happening. Come on, guys. We have to manifest together.
Hell yeah. Okay. That being said, though, I reckon Jones is going to do it, but all my prayers in the world go out to Stipe. I hope he does it.
All right. Go get a trial of GPP. Let's get Jacob a new laptop. We're cooking. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Oh, Jacob's tracked down his computer. It's at a Costco. He's got the Apple tag on it. We'll keep you updated on the whereabouts of Jacob's laptop. He might be going to make a civilian's arrest. I got to call Jacob and be like, don't do anything stupid. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully Jacob doesn't get stabbed.
Sick, Lars.
If you're sick of going goblin mode on the same 4 accessory exercises at the end of every single session, head to the notes below and grab our free gymnastics program. It'll change the way you think about accessories forever.